Welcome back, everyone, on another episode of Next Big Thing HQ, where we interview founders and showcase startups that are raising capital via Reg CF. We have an amazing guest today, Meng Wang, the founder of Artisan. Meng, thank you for joining us today.
It's my pleasure. Hi, everyone.
So tell us a little bit about Artisan.
At Artisan, we build a robot to make specialty coffee drinks. We realized that in the US, specialty coffee is on the rise. There's a huge demand for it, but the current solution cannot scale. Compared to Starbucks, the biggest specialty coffee chain, Blue Bottle, only has tens of thousands of locations. The biggest hurdle for any specialty coffee chain to grow is the labor. For specialty coffee to be special, everything has to be high quality. From the beans, from the barista techniques, equipment, everything has to be much better. So it normally means that they need to hire skillful baristas. And that's the biggest issue for them. Especially after COVID, less and less people want to work as a barista. You cannot just hire any barista from Starbucks to make special coffee drinks because barista said Starbucks just push the button into the machine who make the drink. At specialty coffee chains, the barista has to operate all the tools, use different machines, and use a much higher tier to prepare the drink. So it puts a lot of requirement on what type of people you can hire. And barista is a hard job. It's long hour labor, very labor intensive, and the pay is not great. So that's why no one wants to work as a barista in specialty coffee shops anymore. So to solve the gap between demand and supply, we know that robotics and AI can help. My background is AI and robotics. So we know that no matter how complex the workflow is, no matter how much skills and experience you need, you can always train the robot to master it. And once you teach the robot how to do certain things, they will never forget. And the more they do the drink, the more they do the job, it will only get better. Because to teach the robot, what you need is data. And as you have more data, as the robot make more drinks, it will gather more data. It will train the model better and better.
So how do you train these robots? And for everyone listening, this isn't like a humanoid robot. This is a robot more of, would you classify it as like almost like an arm-like robot where it's just a moving arm?
Yep.
And it will move around, grab different items, and fully make your coffee from end to end, which is so fascinating, right? It gets the order, and then it'll, crush up the espresso beans, put it in the little espresso maker, pour it, then froth the creamer, pour the creamer in the coffee, and then serve it to the customer. So how do you train the robot to do that end-to-end process?
It uses the same workflow. So how we train the robot is that we use a motion capture device, and we put those motion capture device on the human barista, and also the tools and machines they use. We want to record the exact action of the human barista making the drink. And after multiple sessions of recording, we'll let the robot to repeat those actions, exact action. And of course, the robots will make some mistakes, but after certain iterations, the robot will learn how to make certain drinks. And we also use computer vision to guide the robot to do certain things, because no matter how hard you mount your tools, mount your equipment, they will always change. And we also want our robot to eventually be able to operate in any coffee shops. So we don't want to put a lot of constraint on the location of the machines and tools. So it uses the camera, identify and localize the objects on table, and plan its actions on the fly. For each drink, the trajectory is different. The trajectory of the actions are different.
So it doesn't need let's say the espresso maker doesn't need to be in the same exact place for every single coffee shop, because the robot has a camera where it can basically signal and acknowledge, okay, the espresso maker is over here. It's not going to a specific distance, but it's more of going to that object to accomplish the task. But when you talk about training the robot, how long does it take to train these robots?
So typically, it takes just a couple of hours to record. And after it's recorded, we take another day or two to let the robot adapt the recording to its new environment. It does not take too long. And of course, all the object detection and identification models are pre-trained, and we don't need to retrain those models each time we want the robot to repeat certain drinks.
So once you program one robot, all the data gets stored into the model, and then you can just basically select that model and send it out to when you make more robots in the future, so that you don't have to retrain each robot individually. They all are running under the same model. So once you run one, they're all good.
Yes. So that they share the same computer vision model. They use the same model to identify and localize objects on the table.
Okay.
And also the motion planning is the same.
I was looking at your LinkedIn, and you described Artly as, we are developing intelligent robots able to learn from human professionals to master any tool, operate any equipment, perfect any technique, and replicate the most complex recipes with precision and heart. And there's a lot I want to get into there. First, it sounds like the goal is not just coffee, but there's a much bigger goal that you want Artly to accomplish, to do, to be able to operate. So what is that goal? What is that vision that you want Artly to become?
We want Artly robot to be able to carry out kind of labor. For example, if they can prepare specialty coffee, and later on we will teach the robot how to make high quality cocktail drinks. For example, to prepare high quality cocktail drinks, you need to operate a lot of tools like knives, spoon. You need to pick flowers to decorate your cocktail, and you need to place 2x2 ice cubes precisely, or sometimes you need to sculpture your ice cubes. So those techniques need a lot of not only visual perception, but also how to use tool arms, manipulating tools, and to manipulate the tool to do the sculptures thing. It's a very demanding task, and so far no robots can do it. The entire computer vision AI community are still working on how to achieve this task.
And I do find that interesting, because there are other robotic coffee shops or coffee makers that are competitors, but they don't seem to be taking the approach that you're taking, where it's trying to offer more of a premium and add the art aspect when it comes to either making coffee or making cocktails. It seems like the competitors want to go down the route of almost like a factory, and let's figure out just how to make simple drinks and just produce them and get them out. So why is your approach kind of going more the art aspect, more of the premium route?
So by setting a high goal for our robots, we think this is a more direct path for our robots to acquire the generalization capability for it to do other things. For example, we realize that a lot of the skills required to prepare drinks and food are very common. They're the same. For example, to prepare a drink, you need to understand the liquid dynamics. You need to know how to tell whether this liquid is full, or tell the cup is full and empty or half full. And you need to understand what's the notion of pouring. What does pour mean? For example, if I ask the robot to make this liquid full, and I have put another container full of liquid, the robot needs to understand, I need to lift this container and rotate so that the liquid will come out from its opening and to fill this cup. And you need to dynamically adjust the pouring, because the gravity will change the direction of the flow of the liquid. So you need to dynamically change your action so that the liquid ends up in the cup, not on top of the table. So things like this is very simple for us. You don't need to think about when you pour water from a teacup to another. But for robots, we still need to teach them how to do this, even the simplest thing, because it does not have the notion, it does not have the perception capability so far. Recently, there are a lot of multimodal language models coming up, and there are a lot of common knowledge embedded in those multimodal language models. So we are currently leveraging those common knowledge to accelerate this training process.
Explaining that process, makes me realize, as humans, we take for granted a lot of the basic stuff that we do when it comes to just picking up a pen or picking up, let's say, a dumbbell, picking up something super fragile. We understand just subconsciously, this is going to be more fragile, lighter. I have to pick it up a little bit differently, but we don't process it consciously. So training the robot to do that has to be pretty complex. Have you had to deal with any hallucinations of the robot? Has that ever come up where, because you see ChatGPT often does this, where there's a hallucination every now and then. I'm wondering, so what is your perspective and have you had to deal with that? And then how do you kind of prevent that from happening in the future?
So control hallucination, we need to fine tune the model. We cannot use the off-the-shelf ChatGPT model. So to combat hallucination, we just need to provide a lot of negative training samples and force the model to give a rational answer. Yeah, and we also let the robot to predict the confidence of its answers. If the confidence of the answer is not reached to a certain point, we'll discard that response and let human to intervene.
And
or go back to it.
And you have 9 active coffee shops right now, right?
We just opened the 10th one.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah, thank you. The latest one is in Vancouver, Canada.
Well, that's awesome. So you have, 4 in Cali, 2 in Oregon, 2 in Washington, and then...
Portland, Oregon, and 1 in New York, and 1 in Vancouver.
I'll have to check out the New York one. So you have 10 stores, and these robots, they're delivering coffees. I'm assuming each time the robot performs a task of completing a coffee end to end, it goes into the model. So over time, the model only gets better and better, more efficient.
Yeah,
but
that's right.
Raising on Reg CF and for potential investors, what is the business model for Artly?
Yeah, the business model for us is to scale up our coffee business. In terms of vision, our vision is very similar to what Elon Musk is working on with the Tesla bots. I think that their vision is similar to us in the sense that they would also want to develop a robot system that can reduce the dependency on labor. We're taking a different approach. They want to start from the top. They want to develop a generic humanoid form factor. And then they are looking for applications for this robot. It's like they are creating a tool and now they are creating a hammer and looking for nails. But for us, we are taking a different approach. I think any AI system, any robotic system, it will very likely to falter if there's not killer application. We'll want to find a killer application for our technology first. Then we gradually add more capabilities to the robot that will make it more general. Our technology is very similar to self-driving car companies who retrofit existing cars with sensors and algorithms so that allow the cars to drive themselves, to make the car smarter, to be aware of the things around it and to do path planning on the fly. So for us, we do not make the robotic arm. We do not make the mechanical part. The industrial collaborative robots have been widely used in a lot of different applications, mostly in warehouse, manufacturing, packaging, and labs. Yeah, we don't want to create another robotic arm. What we want to do is to make the arm smarter by adding sensors and algorithms.
So with that approach, it's almost like you understand it opens a door for more problems that can be solved in the future, whether it's helping coffee shops because they have a labor shortage. They can't hire baristas fast enough. You can go that route. You can also go the cocktail bar route. And, in the future, the robotic arm can become the bartender, right? So if they can't hire, if the bar can't hire bartenders, they have the robotic arm that can help them out. I want to switch to more of some of the financials, if you don't mind.
I haven't fully answered your previous question about the business model. To realize our vision of creating general purpose robots, I know that we need a lot of investments. We need a lot of resources. We can have two approach to it. We can raise a lot of tons of money, or we already have a business that can fund this research. We're not like Tesla, where they already have a profitable business and they have a profitable EV business, which can constantly invest more money on their Tesla bots project. But for us, since we are a small startup, we do not have that yet. So we want to create that profitable business, which in our case is specialty coffee. We realize specialty coffee is the perfect entry point for our technology. Once we get a stronghold in that market, the profit generated by our coffee business will fuel our research and development. It will make our robots get smarter and more capable. And a smarter robot will, in return, make our coffee drinks better and fancier. And they will enable us to make even more type of drinks like cocktail.
It's basically a flywheel effect, right? It's slow spin, but then it starts speeding up faster and faster and faster. Now, the coffee shops, they're already profitable, right? You had 100K in revenue in 2021, 910K in 2022. So what was your revenue for 2023? And then, if you don't mind mind sharing, what's the cost to operate these robots?
The revenue last year was 1.8 million. That is now final number. Roughly, it's 1.8 million.
That's awesome. Congrats.
Yeah, 2x than the year before. We believe this year we'll do another 2x at least. So yeah, the coffee business, it's growing rapidly. All the coffee shops we have are profitable. The cost, I think that this is crucial for us because the single purpose of our coffee business is to be profitable.
Because it helps fund the R&D, right?
Yes. So if the coffee business is not profitable, then we must be doing something wrong. So to make the coffee business profitable, we have to make our coffee quality the best. It's very easy for any robotic coffee business to acquire the first batch of customers because it's new, and only a few people have tried this before. So people would like to try the first cup. So our goal is very simple. We will make everything we do to improve the quality, to make the quality of coffee best so that the customers will keep coming back.
Okay. So then on that note, what has been the traction and then the customer receptiveness so far, customer feedback from these customers that come into the coffee shop?
Yeah, the feedback so far in general is very positive. 40% of our sales are coming from repeating customers. That's a very exciting data for us. That means we are doing something right.
And then is your approach to scalability trying to open as many stores? Is that kind of the approach? Or are you also thinking about maybe doing a franchise type model where other people can open the stores and you implement the technology for them? I guess, what is your model for scaling to hit your goals in the next few years?
In the near future, near future means this year, we'll focus on two things. One is leveraging our business partners to open more locations inside their businesses. For example, Muji and all other office buildings, they already have a space. They just want to provide their customers with high quality coffee. So for this model, we don't need to pay rent. We'll do a profit sharing with them.
Okay.
So for us, this is the easiest, lowest hanging fruit because our business partners already have so many locations for us to scale up this year. And the other direction we want to double down on is the directly owned locations, where we rent this location, we install our robots, and then we have full control of this space. So this is like a test bed for our technology because we have more control of the space. We can iterate on user experience much faster.
Do you have to have a human in the store? Does it require like a human employee in the store to manage and to watch over the robotics, or is it fully robotic?
It's fully robotic. Our stores do not require a person. In a lot of our stores, we do have human staff there to provide customer service and to sell food. The purpose of that store staff is just to provide customer service. So it's very interesting that a lot of our customers will get more human interactions in our robotic coffee shop than most other coffee shops, especially when their coffee shops are very busy. They do not have time to chat with you to provide customer support. But in our coffee shop, because it's the only task for the store staff.
Okay. It's just to chat with the customers, to answer any questions that they might have. They don't have to worry about actually making the order. That makes sense. They can focus on just one task, and that's, making sure the customer is happy. Now, I would imagine the traditional coffee business model, it's to grow at scale, you have to open more and more stores, but there's a very high labor cost and it's very capital intensive. Now, with Artly, is that going to be the case when you scale, where it's going to, you don't have the labor costs, you have the machines, but how capital intensive is it to open a new store?
It's similar to any other coffee shops. For us to deploy one robot, it only cost us $50,000. That includes all the coffee equipment and the robot. For a traditional coffee shop, the coffee equipment alone could cost $50,000.
Mm-hmm. And then I was watching a couple of videos. This one girl, she did a video and she was reviewing the coffee, was comparing Artly's coffee versus Starbucks. And she said Artly's coffee was so much better just because of the precision in Artly's coffee, because the robot does the same exact pour, the same exact design. I'll put the links in the description below. But what was really cool was it draws a flower for, I think, the lattes every single time because it uses that human element and because it knows how to pour and understands to pour. So, that was super fascinating. And I guess that leads me to my next question, which is what's been the biggest challenge so far with Artly and just growing and scaling the company?
The biggest challenge is still technical challenge. As I said, there's still a long way to go to teach the robot how to manipulate all the tools and to know all the concepts really, really well. They will still need to train many, many more different models. To train the models, we need to gather more data and to label them and to deploy them and to upgrade our AI accelerators at the edge. Another big challenge, because we are making coffee, people have certain expectation on the speed. We do not have all the time in the world. For different AI models running inside our robot, we have to deploy that model at the edge. So we need to shrink the size of the model, or we can get a much larger GPU to host all the models.
What do you mean at the edge?
All the inference, all the deep learning inference has to be done at the edge. At the edge means has to be close to all the robot. We cannot do the processing on the cloud.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and we have very strict real time requirement for on the latency of the model. So it has to do the inference really, really fast.
So then, on that note, you are raising on Start Engine and raising these funds. How are these funds going to be allocated in order to help accelerate the growth going forward?
Most of the funds will be spent on R&D to improve our deep learning models and to improve the design of our mechanical parts. We still have some minor mechanical parts that we need to produce. And we need to increase the facility so that we can make more robots at one time. So most of the money will be spent on R&D, including hiring and maintaining our engineering team. And also that's the main thing that we want to spend. Because our coffee business is profitable. We don't need to spend more money on that. If we need money, we need to acquire the robots in a larger batch. Mm-hmm. But we will recoup those hardware costs in less than 6 months. Any future investment will be spent on R&D.
What's your 5 to 10 year vision of Artly? When you go to bed at night and you think about where Artly will be in the future, what are you imagining? What are you planning? What are you visualizing?
We have a goal of opening 200 locations in 2 years and 100 in 1 year. So our goal is to IPO within 5 years, of course, because we want to compete with Starbucks. We want to grow to the same level, same size, a similar scale as Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts. We believe that with our model, we can grow really fast. We can scale really fast. It took Blue Bottle 10 years to grow from 1 store to 12 or 13 locations. It only took us 2 years. And we'll accelerate much faster once all the models are fully trained so that we can reduce the operational load. And also we'll improve the design so that we can make robots at a much faster speed.
How long will it take for the models to be fully trained?
It's different from models to models. The longest pull is data gathering and data cleaning. That take a long time.
That takes time, but as you scale, you're going to gather more data from more orders, more revenue, more coffee cups sold.
That's going to get the flywheel spinning.
Yep, exactly. Last question. What advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs? If you could go back to 20, 21, 22, what advice would you tell yourself back then?
The advice is to find a killer application for technology. If you are a tech founder, I trust your capability to execute, to write code or to build stuff. So for tech founders like me, the biggest challenge is to find the killer application. So my advice is to talk to experts in different industries to find what the value add you can provide and what's the delta you can provide. Find the biggest delta and you can start from there.
I'm sorry, I just have to ask one more, but how'd you come across the application of Artly and, creating coffee?
Because we are in Seattle, we are exposed to a very vibrant coffee culture. A lot of our friends own specialty coffee chains. So just by talking to them, we realized that there is an opportunity here.
Well, that's awesome. Meng, thank you for coming on. Any final thoughts? Where can people find you? I'll put the Start Engine link down below. But is there a specific place where people can find you, people can talk to you, maybe potential investors, where they can reach out and ask any questions?
Yeah, people can reach out on my LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn or email. I put my email on my LinkedIn.
I appreciate you coming on. Thank you. Artly
Thank
is
you.
such an awesome company. I'll put a couple of video clips down below. Everyone listening, you have to watch the videos. I mean, you walk into the coffee shop and the robot will say your name, say hi, talk to you, and then make your coffee from end to end. It's absolutely fascinating. But as always, thank you for coming on. We appreciate you, and best of luck with this final. When does the round close? When are you planning on closing the round?
March.
Best of luck till then. And I'm going to check out the New York Artly coffee shop, and I cannot wait. So we appreciate it. And thank you for coming on.
Thank you. You're welcome to
So
our
long.
coffee shop.